the interesting things about working with people who are based across the world is the way that you have to modify either your behavior or the way that you communicate to suit that local environment. And I think that especially in Asia, where people are often coming from a totally different cultural background with totally different expectations of how you might behave. I think that that's both one of the challenges of what we do, but also one of the wonderful kind of abilities to engage with others. While there might not be one specific instance, I would say that it's more about learning how to kind of how to fit in a different way. When globalization first started to be talked about, and of course it originally began as an economic model, I think that so many people felt like local cultures would disappear. Now, it's true to say that there is something of a kind of global economy, that when we go to different cities around the world, we do find McDonald's and we do find Starbucks. But I think the flip side of that has been that people also have sought to retain local cultures or to inflect these kind of global organizations in local ways. So the Starbucks that you might go to in Italy will be different from the Starbucks that you go to in China. And so I think that while that might seem kind of superficial for interpretation of the global local kind of question, I think on the one hand there are those who are able to be global citizens, if you like. But I think we also have to be, have to remind ourselves that this is a minority of the kind of world population, that for so many other people, it's simply a local situation, it's a local culture. It's globalization hasn't had an impact on everyone. And so I think that we will never see, as far as I can see, the disappearance of a local culture, because that is what I think people really want. That the global cultures is what I see as an imperative, as something that or kind of a necessity, what we all have to deal with. But localism and a kind of working on a local level will never disappear. Preservation is a kind of interesting question, because oftentimes when one seeks to preserve something, it might prevent it from evolving or changing. So although there is very good work done, especially in the field of government, NGO agencies, also even foundations to support the preservation of culture, and often that cultural tradition might be in the form of dance or movement or something like that, perhaps more so than on the visual art side. But I think that we have to be really careful of this idea of preservation, that it doesn't actually limit the ability to for these kind of traditions to evolve and change in response to a kind of changing environment.